Hello, welcome to another episode of Full Circle with me, Onyx. And I guess I'm just going to say I do a lot of deconstructing of the religious, of the spiritual, magical, occult stuff going on. Why deconstruct it? Um, we need to, it's so you can understand all of this is natural. It's not so grand. It's not so special. And when you realize that, you can grasp it and acquire those abilities, understand things better. So, I was watching a video on how to develop clairvoyance. Why would a psychic want to watch a video on how to develop something that you already possess? Um, I would say my level of clairvoyance is beginner level because I receive a lot of information through just channeling, through just knowing, through just all my other senses. And so I became curious what other people's perspective, their experience on clairvoyance. And I think there's a lot of people who can talk about it, and then we just assume they do it, uh, but then they don't. So I was quickly disenchanted. It didn't align with me. What doesn't align with me is what I call religion or spirituality, sacred, special. These type of words are not unifying. They're not inclusive. Um, and then they already have a long history and association. So they can be misleading. They can shut doors. So these same words can open doors for people, but they can shut doors for people as well. Systems can open doors and then they can shut doors. Like I was reading a very interesting book, The Four Elements of the Wise, and it's a whole system on elemental magic. I'm like, let's go back and play with elemental magic uh, as a beginner with new eyes and a new perspective. And then quickly I was like, oh yes, this system is awesome. This is great. All these insights, all this philosophy, all this understanding. And then I was like, wait a minute. That's all just theory. That's all just a model. And it's this person's construction. I interact with the elemental world in my own way. So there's no reason to fully subscribe to his ideas, but I can take what's useful and leave the rest. I can use it as sources of inspiration and leave the rest. So I don't see it as a definitive truth. I see it as a model, as a construct. Okay, so moving on. So I am going to share how it is for me. Uh, and I'm going to say all religious, spiritual, magical techniques really require you to become present. They really require you to be aware. And so, consciousness, becoming aware, becoming conscious, is the foundation of all psychic abilities, of all magical practices. And so you are consciousness. So what you need to do is become more aware of yourself. So, ever heard of disassociation and disassociation disorders and levels of disassociation? A lot of religious spiritual practices create dissociative disorders. And you're going to have a splitting of the self. And for some people, you will hallucinate. For others, you will hear, like, hallucination can go with all your five senses that look like the spiritual abilities. I hear voices, I see spirits. Are you disassociating? Are you rejecting reality? Are you rejecting your body? Are you rejecting your your own mind, your own logic, your own reason, your own self for a god, a guru, a doctrine? So survivors of cult brainwashing, survivors of, I would say, mass media consumption, uh, when they go to therapy, they have to reintegrate. And so there's actually a lot of disassociative techniques. One, leave your body, astral projection. That's how some people describe it, but that's not exactly how it is. Do I astral project? Can I astral project? Yes, I can. Have I left my body? Yes, I have. So we're having a discussion. I'm not trying to trigger you and saying right or wrong, good or evil, you know. So I but we're having a discussion on how we have an idea in our culture of how to develop these powers, and what they are. And a lot of these ideas aren't really serving you because they're telling you it's outside of you. It's in a god, it's in a guru, it's in a technique. So techniques, methods, legends, myth, spells, you're putting your faith in that. That is your god. Really, I'm telling you, that might just be half the equation. And what you're doing is you're abandoning yourself. You're abandoning your own mind, your own consciousness, your own awareness, your own five senses. You're like, I want these six senses, these other extra sensory perceptions. Wouldn't it be great? Wouldn't it be great to live in another dimension? Wouldn't it be great to escape my problems, my world, myself, conflict? Couldn't we just evolve and live on a spaceship where it's love and light and super technology? Uh, that's half the circuit. I'm saying that is all great. That's great because that can get you up and out and expand your awareness and open your mind. That can turn the key, but it's not turning it all the way and unlocking your full potential. The other half of the equation is really asking yourself, why do I have a physical body? Why am I on planet Earth? Why this family? Why this culture? Why this gender? Why am I here? You can go into all kinds of metaphysical theories out there, or you can bring it back, land, land the jet, land eagle, you know, land, become present. And that actually brings the spiritual realm here. That brings the creativity here. That brings that power here, now, in the present. Then you get a sense of wholeness. Then you can put yourself in the puzzle. Instead of taking out the puzzle piece and examining it, put it into place. Put the puzzle piece back into the picture that you're building. And then you get a cohesive, whole, expanded, all sensory experience of living, and all your psychic senses integrate. So we don't throw away our brain, we don't kill our ego, but we say there's a use. And so, really, what you're going to do is you're just going to link it all to your five senses, link it all to your body, connect it to your living life so you can live as a fully empowered being. So, hold on one moment. All right. So, let's let's see. I'm looking at my notes, kind of things we wanted to talk about. I really summed it all up in that very loaded introduction, but let's kind of examine it a little bit. Let's look at it now. So, I've always had psychic abilities, impressions, downloads, insight, knowing, and I would say it's not like a 24-hour stream, but it's a 24-hour stream. And so, consciousness, if you're conscious, you're getting information, and it's not always what you see is what you get. It's not always related to the immediate. It's more expanded. So you're using your psychic abilities when you reflect on your past. And you recall your childhood and you see it in your mind's eye and you gain an insight. And you start, at least this is what's happening for me. I understand. Here I am now, and from this point of now, I can sometimes look backwards and remember a childhood memory and a belief or an idea that I formulated that at that time was true. But where I am now in this present moment, it needs an update. So when you examine yourself, you do a little self-help stuff, and then, or when I look forward into the future, and I'm like, what would I like to experience? How does that look? How does that feel? You're using your psychic abilities. You're creating an image. Or selecting one from future possibilities. We don't know. But the fact that you're somehow mentally, mindfully sensing, perceiving, conjuring it up, you're using your psychic abilities. So, in a very simple, practical thing, you're like, I'm at work and I'm thinking, I'm glad my shift ends soon so I can run home and give some love and attention to my roommate's dog. And I visualize her surprise and us playing together. I'm using my abilities to jump forward in time. And I'm using clairvoyance to see how that is. So you're using your abilities. And then let's say, and then I didn't get off work on time and I came home later and the dog didn't react to me the same way and I didn't play it out. That wasn't false. It's just I took a different route. Reality took a different route, or things changed. So I don't have to get into it and say, oh, I'm not using my abilities, and those weren't clear visions, and discount it, deny it, throw it away, you know? So, how many times do you find yourself kind of feeling? I notice I do a lot of feeling, and it's not emotional feeling, it's like sensing. I do a lot of, I call it put out my feelers. It's like I reach out and go, do I really want to go to my mom's birthday party? And then I start feeling, it's like I literally put myself over at her house in my mind's eye, project forward. And then I'm like, and then I kind of, I bet it's going to be crowded and all my brothers and sisters are going to be there. And it's going to be noisy and cluttered. And it's going to be the same conversations and it's not going to be planned. I don't want to go. And so, I don't go. What did I do? I used my psychic abilities, mental, mind, to feel and sense my way into a bucket of probabilities and determine for myself how that was going to be. Then I don't need to get all crazy into quantum mechanics and physics, going every single those possibilities are all true, and the one that you dialed into and selected was the truth that you experienced. Therefore, you'll always be correct because what you expect, you experience. Okay, but it still doesn't discount the fact that I have the ability to reach into probabilities through the sense of, through feeling sense. And I did. And so then it becomes inevitable, and that would be my future. So I don't have to worry about future prediction, but what we're saying is we use our sensory all the time. I know once upon a time when I used to drive, I would kind of see and not see. I would sense around me the cars, the pressure of other people pushing their way as they try to get to work. It's like a fight on the freeway. It's kind of like a social thing. You can sense things about people. You can be like, oh, that person's distracted with music. They're not paying attention. Oh, that person's pretending they're Batman and they're weaving in and out of cars to get somewhere. And you can like literally pick up and sense what people are doing. Oh, that person's not paying attention. She's talking to her daughter in the back seat. They're having a mother and daughter moment. Unfortunately, it's on the freeway, and they're putting all of our lives at risk as they swerve and not pay attention to the road. God, I hope they figured that out. Change the channel on your music. It's probably also distracting you. If you're not, so that's me sensing. That's my normal. Is it all judgment call, or am I reading the energy? Am I seeing auras? Is it angels whispering in my head? No. I'm sensing. It's so, imagine your 5 senses expanded. That is a really fast way to open and use your psychic abilities. So play with pause. Linger a little bit on a feeling. Linger a little bit on what you're seeing. Don't be afraid to look. Don't be afraid to feel. Whoa, that's a dangerous road. If you paused, focused a little bit more, hung around with your thoughts, let them brew, let them marinate, whoa, you would get more information. You would extract it. Steep your tea. All of a sudden, so we reject lots of information every second of the day. And what we're experiencing is like maybe 5% of the information. We've whittled it down to little bits of information as we go along. But the reality is there's tons, there's terabytes of information coming in at you. If you could process more than 8 bytes of information, and you actually did 12, you would be psychic. And if you move beyond 12 to 24, whoa, you'd be living the magical life, right? And so that's literally all you're doing. It has nothing to do with spirits, it has nothing to do with good or evil, being morally correct, doesn't have to do with putting your faith in anything. Not a system, not a divine being, not supernatural forces. You don't have to believe in evolution. You don't have to believe in aliens or technology. And why would that be useful? Why am I telling you, okay, this is like a paradox. You're telling me one thing, now you're telling me another. What is it? We're creating a circuit. So I would say modern man is starting to become conscious, and they're starting to open up. So everyone wants to leave their body, everyone wants to have a spiritual experience and generate it for themselves. But they fail to ground it, bring it back to reality where it's useful, where you can create, where you can manifest, where you can live it. So you have this great vision of you and your soulmate. Let it go, come back, and live your life so it can manifest. So the reason why we have dreams is so we can make them real and live them. They stay a dream if you don't allow yourself to make it real in some way. All these great ideas in your head, if you don't bring them down, they stay up in your head and never materialize. They stay in the realm of possibility and probability and never become reality and facts. Do you get it? So, and the other reason why I'm trying to sober you up, wake up, stop disassociating. The other thing is, it's really weird. The more effort you put towards, the more focus you put towards developing your abilities, it kind of does the opposite. So you're like, you think, we're told, apply yourself, work harder, more effort, quit being lazy, dedicate yourself, learn more. That creates resistance energy. You're putting too much of you into it, when really your psychic ability is natural, and if the gates are open, it's going to flow in. So your job is to recognize, stop discounting the information flowing in through your skin, flowing in through your 5 senses. And so this is the awareness part, becoming aware. So really it's more like awareness training for psychic abilities. I'll play with other things, like I have a crystal ball and I love playing around with it. And sometimes I will have visions and other times I won't. And I'll get discouraged. And then other times I'm rewarded with some really great stuff going on. But you have to know when to put it down, when you're efforting it, when you're getting too involved in the creative process. So it's mostly for fun. Okay? So take yourself out of the experience. You're getting too involved. You're too invested, and you might even be making it too much about your identity. I'm evolving, I'm a spiritual being, I'm a chosen one, all this weird stuff going online. No, you're not. You're a human being having a human experience. And unfortunately, your culture has made you a thin slice instead of a fat slice. You're a thin slice of pie. You've discounted, ignored, denied your awesomeness to the point where all that you know and all that you're willing to experience of you is a very thin slice of the pie. Opening up your senses, being open-minded, stop labeling it, stop making it special, you become a thick, fat slice of pie. You get to experience more of you get to expand your senses, and you get to have a greater sense of reality. Your journey, your human experience gets to be high definition, you know? And so that's what's going on. So take you out of the equation. You're not special. The gifts aren't special. Everyone has them. Everyone's using them. But you need to, if you want to develop it, you can. But the development isn't more effort. It's more allowance. It's more freedom. It's more understanding. So it's a gentle opening. It's expanding. It's realizing you're more of the thin slice, your 2 thin slices, your 3 thin slices. Wait a minute. I'm a big fat slice. Wait, I'm half a pie. Wait, I'm the whole pie. So we call that God realization. You're the whole pie. You're the slice and you're the pie. So imagine your experience if you could just be a bigger piece of pie. Whoa. So, and wouldn't you want that? Well, we won't go there. So, a lot of people need a sense of meaning and purpose, and they'll look towards authority figures through things that they think are so powerful and great, like a textbook. There was this big fat book on how to astral project, the complete manual. And I was like, awesome. What a waste. Because there is no technique. And you don't need technique. They did 37 acupressure points. And they did loaded with 180 techniques to astral project. And I'm like, all you have to do is relax and know where you want to go and watch it happen. And don't be afraid when your astral body pills out of your physical body. So a lot of the information is just a permission slip. A lot of the systems, they can help you to a point, and then they'll do the opposite. They'll hinder you because they'll tell you what it should be like. People will tell you what clairvoyance should look like, what you should be experiencing, what spirituality looks like, in some like mass agreement. But you're an individual having your own unique experience. And it doesn't need to mean anything, It doesn't need to have a great purpose. We're all ascending, creating the new earth, and we're going to live in love, peace, and for 1,000 years. I was like, that sounds like religion. Let it go. Or that also sounds like a lot of work. I find you can get to where you want to go if you just take yourself. So obviously, if you're going to expand your senses, you're going to probably expand your self-awareness. You're going to experience yourself on deeper levels, on broader levels. You're going to feel things deeper. You're going to get deeper insights. And so if you resist this and keep referring to yourself the way you used to when your senses weren't expanded, you're working against your expanding awareness, your ability to be more conscious. So your definitions, though, of yourself, your definitions about life need an update as you expand and grow. your habits need to change with it. Your identity changes. So there's a deconstruction of the self. There's looking at stuff called shadow material, which gets that's just the stuff you've denied. The whole pie is basically your shadow. But wait, the pie is good and it's not dark and negative. You're right. We have false ways of looking at things. The way we understood them yesterday doesn't need to be the way we look at them and understand them today. You know? So what's going on is a lot of perpetuation of past information that's no longer true. It's irrelevant. It's basically false. And when you keep bringing it forward, it's not helping you, it's hindering you. So in each new moment, you're a new person. Therefore, you see with new eyes. You understand with a new mind. And so if you don't allow for this change and you stick to an old tradition, you stick to a method, it hinders you. So as much as it lifts you up a step and helps you forward, you have to know when to let it go. You have to know when to let a lot of things go. And this letting go is expanding. So puts you in a receiving mode to receive the next bit of information. So if you can't receive the information you got from your psychic experience, if you can't digest it, make it useful, and let it go, you're not given more information. The cup is full. And so what probably another reason why you're not developing your abilities is because it's clogged. You need to let a lot of stuff go to let the information flow. So if you hold on to an idea of a religious model, if you hold on to a major belief, if you hold on to these things, you're disconnecting the circuit. The only thing that can happen with that type of pressure is disassociation, fragmentation. So a belief I had to let go of is the scientific model. There is a point, it served me, it helped make me rational and practical, it helped me see through the bull crap of the new age world and what most people are saying because they don't know and they think they know and they don't and no one knows. Now I'm at a point where I have to let that go to embrace a bigger reality beyond definitions. So